A tailout is simply the very tail of a pool or run. It's where the current slows down and shallows right before it enters the next riffle or change of stream character. Flat, shallow water isn't where we'd expect to find trout, and there are really two situations that trout use tailouts. The first is that there's structure that deflects water current enough from the tailout that allows trout to station with suitable overhead cover or depth, in which case it's actually a prime trout lie because the fish feels safe from predation and their energy expense is low. Even in barren-looking tailouts, there are almost always microstructure features that trout gravitate to. If you look closely, there's likely a bit of wood, a small weed patch, or a rock embedded into the river's substrate, or there's a wave of gravel that acts like a trough that breaks current. There may also be a subtle deflection off the bank well upstream that essentially creates a long in-seam flat in a relatively stagnant back eddy. If there's overhead cover at the tailout, you're almost always guaranteed of a trout's presence. You may not see it because it may stay well concealed, but given the likely high food source and low energy exertion in low flows, that's often an obscure prime habitat. The second situation trout use tailouts is because of food. Simply put, there has to be a good food source for trout to expose themselves to the risks of holding in shallow water. Trout are perpetually adjusting their lives based upon a simple formula of a cost-benefit ratio. If the cost is too great and the chance of being eaten by a predator is high, they won't be there. If the hatch or terrestrial presence is too great to pass up, they'll risk at least some exposure. In a good hatch, you'll see some of the big trout from the deeper water upstream or further into the main current drop out to find lazy water to sit and effortlessly feed. Tailouts are certainly more geared to being a feeding lie, either stationed to a rock or searching the flat. Tailouts are highly favored in low light conditions of dark, cloudy days or from dusk through dawn. As light intensifies, they know they're exposed. No doubt their vision brightens and sharpens, and that leads them to know they're glowing in the sun and prone to predation by birds, otters, or mink. Because the water is shallow and of subtle structure in tailouts, trout are exposed and extremely in tune with any audio-visual disturbance from deceptively long distances. When you see several V-shaped wakes heading to deeper water, you know it's time to improve your approach.